Morning. I'm inside. I'm not going to say anything about the weather today, which for those of you who've been following me all lockdown, it has been my big topic because the weather has just been weird. But today it's just total pants. So while we wait for everybody to join us, I'm going to tell you about these paintings over here. I'm hoping you can see them. I'll be able to check in just a moment when the video on the laptop catches up. But you saw me do this one last week. Now, I know I've got a lot of paints left over, and sometimes I wonder if you think, in fact I will just turn you around a little bit. I wouldn't, you know, sometimes you think I just scrape it all and it's a big waste. But same colours, same palette, didn't add anything else to them. Here's my Northern Lights that you saw me paint. Did a twilight, couple of boats, moored up, bit of water, bit of land, moonshine, quite pretty, atmospheric. I did this one as well, which was just playing with the colours because I've got phthalo green left. Where does phthalo green go? It's a funny sort of colour and it's so strong. So I did that one as well, which I think the colours actually work, believe it or not. And then I finished off just using whatever was left in my palette to create this little montage, if you like, of flowers. And if you look at them, there's 4 paintings there, all of them out of the same paints, totally different. Plus, I also painted using the greens and the browns, whites, and a little bit of reds for the hollies. I've painted this, which is on glass, but I do find as long as you don't put it in the dishwasher, the oil paint sticks really well, as long as it's cleaned. So that's a tea light holder ready for the Christmas. And I'm hoping to get a Christmas fair somewhere along the line. And 2 more little tea lights with little Christmas scenes in them. So we've got a couple of little houses, we've got a little church in each one because they match the set. And also we have the North Pole. Okay, so I just thought I'd let you in on the little secret there. I'm just going to see and move you back a little bit so that you don't miss out on what's going on here. But I just thought I'd let you see how much you could get out of the paint on your palette, and so many different things. It's the mix of the colours. Okay, so today we are going to do a view from Ballymena in Northern Ireland. Now this is a friend of mine on Facebook, Alison Hallett. This is where she lives, lucky lady, and she's forever posting views. But this one, you'll have to tell me, Alison, if this is sunrise or sunset. But I loved the sky, I loved the colours in the sky and the landscape at the back and her garden in the front. And she's got some what looks like roses and hydrangeas and possibly some fuchsias with a gravel path, but all will be revealed. So to get a start, I've used my liquid grey, which is actually liquid opal. He's called it, Bob called it liquid opal because it sounded better than liquid grey, no doubt. And it has got a sort of a bluey purpley tinge to it. I don't know how well you can see that on the video. So to start with, I'm going to take my little trusty 1-inch brush, make sure it's dry, and I'm going to start with a little bit of this orange, which is cadmium orange, with a little bit of cadmium yellow. I'm going to yellow it down a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start with that, and I am going to add a little bit of white because the grey will calm it all down. So, going to start in here. Now the colours in the sky are actually quite subtle and they change quite quickly from the yellowy orangey colour through to the blues. It's the clouds that have got most of the colour. So I'm going to leave that there. And this coverage, by the way, before I forget, means you can still see your fingerprint. It's that thin because if you put too much on there, you end up, your paint will slide off. Oh my goodness me. Okay, my brushes were outside during this storm, and obviously I'm going to have to remember to knock the foliage off them. Okay, because I'm now going to go into a blue, and this is all oranges and yellows, I'm going to wash my brush. Very early on, but I'm washing my brush. Beating it out on the little brush beater. Now I'm going to take some blue here, which I think it's cerulean blue, I believe. Again, going to add a touch of white to it. And a little bit of French ultramarine. Now I usually use Prussian blue and phthalo blue, but I really wanted this to be quite bright. So we'll start up here. I'm just going underneath those. It's got this bar has got little nails which normally stand on top of the painting, or the canvas, but this time, because I'm on a canvas board, which again I prepped with I prepped with white gesso, because they are really absorbent, and anything that you put on tends to disappear if you don't stick another couple of layers of gesso on. And that's whether you buy the Winsor & Newton or whether you buy the works. They're all the same. Okay, so we'll come across here. I'm going to have quite a high horizon in this one because I'm going to have quite a lot of the garden. And I will warn you now, Alison, that it won't look totally like your garden, because I am going to change a few things as it goes. Not much though, because it's actually a very pretty garden, but she's got a couple of bits of fields and stuff in the background as well, which would be nice. Never been to Northern Ireland. I was supposed to go for my 60th this year with some family. My family, some family, well, some randomers, but well, we all know what happened to that. Good old COVID. Okay, so I'm just going to take that to there. Like I said, very, very light, very, very. Now I might want to darken up a little bit up here. Well, not darken it, but brighten up, shall I say. So I'm going to take a little bit more of this blue, put some more in. A little bit brighter, shall we say? There we go. And just a little bit more. So it's quite a bright blue, but it disappears off, obviously, towards the horizon, quite pale. Okay, so there we are. That'll be about it. Now I am going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson to this yellow down here, just to warm it up a little bit, because it will, there we go, we'll take that across. Okay, washing my brush again, because unfortunately the colours that I'm using there, if I mix them, that will go wrong. Okay, so taking my fan brush, now I'm going to do a little bit, let me do some mixing first. I'm going to take a little bit of black, a little bit of the blue, mix them together, so I've got sort of a greyish colour, a little bit more blue I think. Let's put a little bit of Prussian blue in there. Okay, see what colour we've got. We need to put a little bit of white to one side and a little bit more black I think, and then I think we're there. Okay, so going to take fan brush full, and this is a number 8 fan brush. Okay, so starting from the top. Now they look a bit grey at the moment, but they will soon change. Literally just making circles, okay? Lots and lots of circles. There's a few clouds up here, but they're the sort of like the stringy, fluffy ones. There must have been a bit of a breeze up in the sky. And then there's a few more over here. A few more fluffy ones. Okay, so there we go. And then we'll have a few stringy ones again along here. And then there's a huge big cloud right across the bottom, which I will do in a moment. So get rid of that. That one I don't beat, I just dry it on the carpet. I'm not actually drying this on the carpet. Let me just clear this up. I have actually got a towel under my feet because I'm so clumsy and I drop so much stuff that I do have to protect the floor a little bit. So I have an old towel that I keep on the floor. Okay, so I'm just winding these up a little bit. Goodness me, they are awful. I have a buddleia bush. Well, I have several buddleia bushes in the garden. And the flowers, they just get everywhere. Okay, so set them down into the painting. Now, obviously when I did the fluffing up, I got a few extra marks in there. That doesn't matter, they can just rub them away. And we'll just set all those down. Okay, so they're the darker clouds. Going to take a different fan brush because I didn't like that one. Let's try an old Bob Ross one, which is, it's a fan blender, it's a number 3. Okay, so I'm now going to make up a, this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to make up a peachy bluey grey colour. So there's my peachy colour, which is really, really bright. We'll add some white to it. And then I'm going to actually, I don't know what this is going to do, so I'm going to mix it over here first, in case I don't like what it does. And see, it turns it green, which I don't want. So we won't have that. I won't add the blue. We'll maybe do that in the highlights. Okay, so taking this, I'm going to add a bit more white actually. There we go. Maybe a little bit of brown will tone it down. Brown tones it down. There we go. See, this is the trouble of being not properly trained, as in I didn't take an art degree or anything. It's all trial and error. So if you are watching me this morning, please do say hello so that I know who is watching and who isn't, which is always nice to know. So this is the bottom of the clouds, and I'm going to highlight them unusually. I know I'm going over this bright spot, but that is literally where this cloud goes. Now normally I wouldn't do a cloud formation so precisely, but I really, really liked it. So as you're going across, make your clouds fluffy by just flicking up, don't circle, literally right the way across. It's huge, huge bank of cloud, weather front coming in. Don't worry about too much around the side because they've got bushes that will sort of come across. Let's make that, it's a bit straight, so there we go. A few little stringy bits. Right, so changing, just quickly washing my brush. Going to go into some yellow with white. And that is going to be, when it mixes in, that is going to be my highlight colour. So we've got a really big bank of colour coming up there. We've got quite a bit coming up over here, underneath, and a little bit. Oh, thought someone was coming in, but it's a pigeon on my roof. And we'll put that over there. And then I am just going to touch a little bit to the tops because it is shining through. There's a little bit, there we go. Okay, so going back to my brush, I'll just knock off the excess paint. Which, no I won't, I'm actually going to clean that one. I'm now going to... Anyone out there? Hi, hi Lewis. Is anybody else out there? Or is Lewis on his own watching me today? Right, we'll just mix this together. Nice and gently. Like little making circles. Now, if you see by the brush, that's the only bits that I'm using. The only bit I'm using is tiny, probably about a dozen or so hairs on my brushes, and that is it. Okay, so fluff it up, and when you fluff up a cloud, you very barely touch it, and then you set it in. Even beating and washing it, I'm still getting garden in my brushes. Didn't even think on that when I was setting up for today. This goes to show you. I had all my brushes. I had intended to be outside today, but anyhow, I think it's Storm Francis or something had other ideas, obviously. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the white, a little bit of blue, not a lot, and we'll do some redefining of some clouds. In here, then we'll, there we go. And again, taking my brush, mix them up. Now because it's so bright, and there's such a bright spotch of light, there we go. Okay, that's that cloud. Now I am going to do, there's one or two others up the top. Now you've got like this one over here. He's got quite a lot of orange in him. And this one over here has got a little bit of orange coming in underneath where the light's reflecting. Same with here. Just a little bit where the light's just reflecting a little bit, because obviously the sun is breaking through. I've got a feeling that this was a sunset rather than a sunrise. You'll have to let me know, Alison, if you're watching, or if you see this later on. Again, we'll mix the two colours together, fluff it up, and there we go. In fact, I'm just going to go straight across it. And there we go. And there we have some pretty unusual clouds, but that was the attraction. They were really unusual. Right, I'm going to wash my brush. Now I'm going to struggle a little bit with my brush because I'm actually running out of paint thinner. Because unlike the Bob Ross ones, I think I am going to go back to Bob Ross thinners, because the Bob Ross thinners don't evaporate. Whereas I think the Winsor & Newton does. Seems to disappear a lot quicker than the Bob Ross ones do anyway. So I'm going to have to try and find a supplier locally. Right, so now we're going to take the brush, and looking at it, it's this colour with a little bit of brown in it. So we'll take the cloud colour, and we'll put in some brown, and I'm also going to put in a bit of yellow ochre because there are some really nice reflections of light. So making sure you get all those colours, not just one horrible brown colour. Okay, so underneath here, now I'm only going to start here because I've got some bushes that come out here. And I'm going to do, got a little bump that comes up here, a little bit more colour, and I'm actually tapping the brush into it comes up. And another little bump down there. Okay, and there we are. And this is the hills in the distance. Okay, so I'm going to stop them there. I'm going to put in a little bit of this darker colour. Just a little bit, because where the big cloud is, there is a little bit of shadow. So we're going to mix in a little bit of shadow like there. And a little bit over there, because you will have, obviously, the sun isn't hitting it all. So there we go, that's the shadow side over there. And what should we do on the brighter side? Should we do a little bit of, we'll highlight it with a little bit of gold, which is the yellow ochre. So we'll just stick that on there, just to show the different highlights. Okay, and there we are. Because I'm not going to do a lot of detail on these bits, guys, because to be honest, it's not the important part. It's not the biggest important part of the painting. All right, so I'll take another brush. Make sure I get rid of the garden out of it this time. And we'll tap along the bottom. Okay, so we'll tap all the way along there, mist it out a little bit. Make sure it all comes, get a little bit of direction with them. Okay, and there we are. Now, in amongst these, we have got a tiny little bit of grass. So a little bit of like pastures. So I'm going to take, because it's quite bright, take a little bit of sap green and mix it with some cadmium yellow. I'm just going to turn my knife page over because it needs cleaning. I'm running out of space on it. Okay, so in here, now these pastures literally are just background pastures. Not going to do, again, not going to do a huge amount of detail. There's not a huge amount there. And we'll do that there. We'll bring it forward just a little bit. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to this colour. I'm going to bring the hill down into it so that it's not quite so flat, and that the hill seems to come onto it. Now there are some field markings obviously, but if I just bring the hill down onto it and some of the stuff onto it, it'll look like bits of hedgerow. And if I go a little bit darker, I can tap a little bit of colour in on the top. So we'll do a little bit of darker green at the ends. And there we are. Okay, and we're starting to get, so if I do that, it'll start to sort of like look like it's going up the hill a little bit, won't it? There we are. There we are. And that's my interpretation of the little fields and stuff. Again, it's all background. You're not going to, it's not the focus of the painting. The focus of the painting is in the front. It's actually the garden itself. So I'm going to do that. Take my brush again. Give it a good beat. And moving on, we now need our round brushes, because now we're going to do, in fact I'll do the little brush first, we're going to do, and I will get rid of the garden out my brush, and I'm going to go into some black, which is ivory black, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, and I'm going to chuck in some sap green. So So it's a really good dark colour, okay, that we can then highlight. So, very lightly, instead of making this a lighter colour, we'll just tap it lightly. So right across here, we've got some quite dark trees and bushes. So let's make them right the way across. Turn your brush a little bit, get different shapes. So if you tap just straight across with the same shape, you're going to end up with a row of bushes that just look exactly the same. So that's one row. Now these get quite pale because they are quite far in the background, so we'll do those and then I'll come back and do another lot in front of them which are darker. There we are. Okay, and then we have those, and I will get my lighter brush again, getting rid of the garden out of it, and I'll come into this yellow and green. I'm actually going to add a little bit of liquid white, and we'll just add a little bit of colour to them. Think about the shapes, keeping it quite dark because they are quite a dark. Change the colours a little bit, but not too much, because this year I'm assuming Ballymena is all lovely shades of green. So what we're going to next? Next we've got the bushes that actually are in the garden, and they come in like this. So filling my brush, okay, filling my brush up. So I'm going to start with a tree that starts about here and comes down, and then the next one to it, go back, load your brush, next one to it. They're sort of a conifer. I'm not very good at naming plants, you may have noticed beforehand, so just keep getting taller because obviously these trees are coming towards you. And then there's another one just there, he's going to overlap. And then there's the really big boy who starts up here, but we don't see much of him. We just get a bit of him hanging over the edge of the painting. Okay, and he's there. Then over this side, again, we'll start the tree there. And another one comes up here. Another one there, and make them overlap. I will put some darker colours in to make them overlap so that it's quite obvious what's happening. And this isn't a commission, by the way. I just literally, I saw Alison post this on her Facebook page, and I just thought it was so beautiful, and I just asked her if she minded if I painted it, and she gave me her permission, which I do like to ask for their permissions because, well guys, you know, it's their painting, it's their picture, it's their property. So, do like to ask permission. It's different if you're out and about and you see, you know, a scenery, some scenery, or you take the picture, but when somebody else is using their picture on Facebook and then somebody just goes and paints it and then sells it, and not good form, guys. Okay, so now I would normally on my trees put a little bit of, you know, the trees underneath, but these are such thick trees. I'm going to add a little bit of light to this because I'm struggling to show the different trees. Here we go. So this one will be a really dark version. Okay. Again, we'll have this one here. Because these are all, I have to say, they are all really dark anyway. and then that tree there, okay, and then adding a little bit of, because he's so high up, this guy's actually getting a bit of sunshine, so we'll actually brighten him up a little bit, and he's come to the front. So again, going back to the back, a little bit down there, a little bit up there, down there, and there. Now I'm not going right the way down because again we've got a load of trees and bushes down there, so choosing my dark, going back into all my dark colours, and I'm actually running out, so get away from that blue. These are really, really dark, guys, these ones down here. So they come in front, yeah, they do come in front and alongside those bushes. They do come up and over the bushes that I've already done. So we'll do some of those like that. And then we'll do some more coming out here. Because we need the dark colours in order to show the light. And plus, if we've all of a sudden gone really dark, then we're coming forward, and it just shows how we're coming forward. Okay, there we are. Don't worry about shape and form at the moment because we'll pick those out. Okay, so now with my liquid white, put a little bit of liquid white on there. Going back into this, we'll highlight it a little bit. I'm going to take a few of the yellows because there are some different colours that are cropping up now. So we'll take a bush there, and we'll go back into the green, and we'll just have some green. There. Go back into the yellow. Just tapping away. Just try and varying the colours a little bit. And we'll have a little bit of white. I'm actually going to go into a bit of orange because I have got some bushes that are sort of a browny colour, so we'll do those. Alison, I've no idea actually what plants you've got in your garden. I can't identify all of them, so if you are watching today or if you watch it later, drop me a line please. Okay, go back into the yellow. I'm going to have a round one there. There we are. And then we'll go into the green. And we'll do some littler bushes at the front, little bits of greenery, do some down here as well. How about we do one with, this is always cool, how about if we do one that has red flowers on it? No? Okay. And then we'll do one that has a mix. Okay, come up here. Now this is almost a sort of yellowy green, this bush here. There we are. Okay, and again we have a little bit of grass. So we'll go into this. I'm going to have to get a little bit more yellow, I think. But, oh no, I've got my Indian yellow. Oh, we'll use the Indian yellow. There we are. Again, bring your brush as much as you can to a point. And we have a little bit of grass in here. Just showing up. It's not a great deal. And just tap, and as it comes out into the daylight, out from underneath these bushes, which will be quite dark, there we are, underneath those bushes, be really dark, we get a bit lighter as it comes out. There we are, into the daylight. You are literally just tapping, not pulling it down or anything, just tapping. And that's enough. Go back a little bit, we'll go back into some of these bushes, give the idea that they're a bit round, coming forward all the time. Got a little bit underneath there. There we are. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is bring that forward. We'll go, we forgot about this side, didn't we? Nobody reminded me about this side. There we go, again, in shadow, coming out to light. All right, so that's a little bit of the grass. Now what I'm going to do is get the bigger brushes, the big round brush, because now I'm going to do the row of flowers that goes here before there's a path, and I will finish off with a path. All right, so again, going into these dark colours. And the reason I go into the dark colours is, as the good man always said, you need your dark to show your light. Okay, so what have we got? We've got a big bush here that's got pretty blue flowers on it. Got a couple of little bushes here that just a little round bushes, top and bottom. Then we have little ones there. And this beauty, which I think looks like, definitely, I'm sure it's a hydrangea. We used to have a hydrangea bush in our gardens. In fact, we used to have almost a hedge of them. But we found out that they were toxic to tortoises. And as you all know, I have a tortoise. And he came first, so I'm afraid. And now that dribbles out onto the path, which I can sort out after I put the path in. And it almost comes to the edge, so I'm just going to make up my mind and put in some extra just to take it straight across. Okay, there we go. And then we'll come down, and I'm just going to tap in some dark along there. Now before I put any bushes in, I'm going to come right to the bottom because it's a sort of a gravelly colour anyway. So that's quite a good colour for me to do the path on top of. And that should be fun doing that because we're going to try something new. I'm going to try, because it looks like a gravel path, so I'm just going to put lots of different colours on it, and hopefully it will look like a gravel path when I'm finished. Right, so that's that bit. Now I need my knife, which I've lost my big knife. There it is. Okay, again, using this along with that, we'll have a darker colour. It makes a sort of we'll add some blue into it, make a greyish colour. And right across, okay, I'm going to say right across here, try and keep it as straight as you possibly can, because this path looks, you obviously walk along the path and see the curbstones, and you stop and look at the view, which, like I say, in my mind is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I'm just tapping my knife, and I'm going straight down with it, not messing with angles, because if you're looking at it straight on, now obviously if I was doing this as a commission, I would be doing tracings and making sure that all the plants are the same, but I'm not doing it as a commission. I'm doing it because I really liked it. Okay, I'm going to take some of that stone colour. Sorry, I keep disappearing off camera. Mix it. Got all those different colours in there, and all I'm going to do is just add a little touch. No, I need some liquid white in it. It's not touching it. So I'm just going to have a little touch going along the top, just to show that it is actually a paving slabs or curbstone type thing. It doesn't need to be much. Just need a little light reflecting off it. All right, now the bushes. Need the green grass first. So I'm going to go back to my, might even need some green. Right, so I'm going to put the blue flowers straight on these two big bushes. So I'm going to do these ones that needs a bit of white, because that's quite a bright bush back here. Now a little bit of poetic license. The path is a lot further up on the picture. So, but I'm an artist, so I'm changing it. Going to add a little bit more yellow. Anyone else out there? Hi Ruthie! Hi Rebecca! We do, absolutely, we need a catch up. Got number one son home at the moment, but if you let me know when you come back, you're going back to school, I will oh definitely. Now in front of this blue one there's one there, so I'm going to stick that down there, and that's my big spilly one. It's the one that's going to spill out over. Do you like this terminology? That's my big spilly bush. Bring those along there, that one up there. Going to leave those ones in the dark. There we are. Highlight a few of these in the middle. Changing the colour a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of orange, just because I can. Just to allow a little bit different. Actually, it looks like it's got orange flowers in it. Oh, actually, I shouldn't have done that, because that's my flowers. Never mind. Hey ho. So there we go, and I'm going to take a little bit of alizarin crimson on the ends, and we'll have a little red bush there. No, I know, Alison, you don't have a red bush there, but you know what? I think you ought to. So I'm putting one in. Because like I say, I'm an artist, I'm allowed to do stuff like this. That's the beauty of when you get your very first paintbrush, canvas. It becomes your world. You can do what you want with it. And if nobody, people either like it or they don't. That's their choice. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the oranges on here, because I now need some green, real green. So I'm going back in here. I haven't got rid of all my paint off here, or all my paint thinner, because I need, oh, that's okay, because number one son's in, so he can deal with that, whatever it is. Okay, so there's my lighter colours, and I'll put in, because this is my big coloured bush. Mind you, it'll be quite fun in watching to wait and see if number one son knows where the house keys are. So I'm now going to do I'm going to use, now I don't usually use different knives, but for this one, so I'm going to have my blue. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, number one son didn't know where the keys were, and the postman's just delivered me something onto the veranda. Such a nice guy. Okay, so there we are. There's a nice blues. I never could get blue ones. All mine out the front were pink. There is motion at my front, yes I know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is little swirls depicting the various flowers, because they're really big flower heads, so they need to be round. So we'll bury a couple of them in different ways, but there we go. That's the different colours. Anybody else out there today? I've got Becky and I've got number two son, which is very nice to see. Okay, so that's just all I'm doing is literally touching the canvas and then pulling a little bit in a circle, because obviously they are in a circle. I have some coming up because some of them are almost white and some of them are, I will show you at the end, I'll show you the picture that this is supposed to be. Okay, right, that's that. And then we've got some more of them over here, but not quite so many, so we'll do a few just hiding in there. A few of the colours coming through. There we are. There. And that's all I'm going to do for that one. For this one, this is going to be fun. Oh no, hang on a second, I've not finished yet. Because I do need a script liner brush somewhere. There's one. And I'm going to go straight into this dark colour. And I am going to put some of these, I'm going to have, I'm just going to pull a little bit at the bottom so that they look like they're actually attached to something. Because they're sort of like umbrellas really, aren't they? I do hope Alison watches this and then she can comment as to what flowers they actually are. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the lighter green colours just on the edge. I've only done the edge. Just going to fill in. Actually, it's going to need a little, oh, I've got liquid white here. It's going to need a little bit of liquid white because there are some really bright leaves in amongst here. So we'll put them, and that'll set the flowers beautifully in there, because now they look like they actually belong to the plant, because the leaves are growing up and around them. There we are. And then the leaves can come down to the bottom. Alright, that's that one. And I will do the same here, although he's a bit darker. Just put a little bit of light and then mix it in. There we go. Okay, now the only other bush I'm going to do some flowers on is this big bush here, which actually spills down onto the path. So I'm going to take a lot of the yellow ochre. I'm going to take the green. In fact, I'm going to add a bit more sap green. If you just bear with for a minute. Need my sap green. Where's my sap green? Already in must have finished it. Okay, so we're just going to have to make do with what we've got. So this one here, I'm going to move him along a little bit so he goes down here, and he's going to come out, and he's actually going to spill out onto the path itself. So I'm going to add a little bit of Indian yellow, give him a bit more definition there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip him, just the very tips, with red and a little bit of white. I'm not going to mix it because this bush has red and white flowers all over it. So I'm going to now go into the white, have a few little white flowers. I'm wondering if this is like hot lips, which is one that I have in my garden. It's absolutely brilliant. And they literally look like a pair of red lips on the bottom. So we'll go into that there. That's spilled out over into the path. Low battery, don't you dare. Now I've got a few little purpley coloured flowers here, so I'll go back to my knife. Actually, it doesn't matter, you can if you want to. So I'm going to go back. We'll have that and the blue. We'll mix them together to make a purple, which is there. Now these are just underneath here, so we'll just put some colour down in little bits here. And then we'll highlight them and they will just pop. Okay, so I'm just laying down a little bit of colour here, there and everywhere. Okay, get rid of that. There we are. We'll have the white. I'm going to go straight into the liquid white, and then we'll just highlight these flowers. Little bit of white on there, that's a bit too much. There we are. And there's a few, there's a bit more blue. And there we are. And then we've got a few little bits of colour in there. Right, now, last thing is this path. So, what am I going to do with the path? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my 1-inch brush and I'm going to go into reds and greens and yellows and browns and oranges and all sorts of colours. They go up there to that colour, and I'm just going to tap it all on. Okay, I'm just going to tap it all on because it's stones, so perhaps a little bit lighter. There we are. Because it's gravel, so we're just going to tap it in there. All sorts of colours. A bit more brown maybe. There we go. Literally just tap it in. A little bit more yellows as we come, or oranges as we come up to the red of the and green of the plant that's actually overflowing. There we are. Tap it. A little bit more brown maybe. A little bit of white. A little bit of white in there as well. Yeah, it looks a bit strange, but you know, guys, it's a gravel path. It has 100 different colours in it. Okay, and there we have it, and that's my gravel path. And that, Alison, is my my interpretation. I'm just trying to find my brush. that is my interpretation of your garden, and I hope you like it, and I'm very jealous you have an absolutely stunning view every morning. Just going to sign it here. You think I'd know my own name? I can't even get the R done right. There we go. And I have no idea what the time is because my clock in my studio clock has decided to die. Which I don't blame him with this weather. There we go, an R and a B at the bottom. I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, it just shows a little bit about my process of what I do and how I do it and where I get my ideas from. I hope Alison likes it. Oh yeah, I was going to show you just quickly before my iPad dies. That's the picture I was working from. So I'll switch that off now because that is very close to dying. Okay, so I'd say hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed last week. It was great fun with the live event kept following straight after. It was a very long day, but I did enjoy it. Thank you to those of you who liked and shared and looked at all my pictures. All the products, the ones that you see at the back, they're not on there yet, but they will be on my website, rbyart.co.uk. If you'd like to learn to paint your view, then please get in touch, rbyart.co.uk, and you can book a lesson or you can commission a commission. I've got one more commission to do, but that's going to take a little bit of piecing together of 8 or 9 different things. It's going to take quite a while, so we will be in here for the foreseeable future. Take care. All right, like I say, same time, same place next week. See you then. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.